y'all. It's been a pretty long minute, a good little while, and here I am, 20 plus thousand miles later, in my TLX Type S, and it has been quite an interesting experience so far. I've had it for, let's see now, I've had it for about a year and 2 months now, and the first year has been pretty good experience. Pretty good experience. I have no real complaints. 20,000 miles in, I can tell you now, I haven't had any real issues at all with the car. Nothing major besides regular maintenance. The only thing that I could say is an issue, but I mean, everybody's been having an issue. If you have a TLX Type S, you know the puddle lights have gone out. I think my driver's side puddle lights went out twice, and I think the passenger side went out twice as well. And each time I've had them all replaced free of charge under warranty. Um, that was pretty much the only issue that I guess I quote unquote really had in the past year. Other than that, it's been easy going and no other issues. Just pretty reliable as one would expect from Acura and as a byproduct Honda. So yeah, 20,000 miles later, you would probably think that, wow, damn, he got 20 plus thousand miles on it, he's only had it about a year. It is my daily car, and I enjoy it actually as a daily. And I've been thinking as well whether I wanted to keep using it as a daily or perhaps get something else to drive and not drive it as much, but I really enjoy driving it day in and day out, more or less. I really enjoy it. It's just making sure I keep it clean as I'm doing here, just doing my kind of like my weekly wash of the car. Some people think I'm washing it too much, but as someone who does drive it daily, I like to make sure it's clean week to week. So, what has it been like as a daily? Someone in my previous video asked me how it's been as a daily, and as a daily car, I can say it's been, as I stated before, it's been really enjoyable. Like, it's smooth. Most of my commute to work is mainly highway. It's mainly highway, and I pretty much am able to just cruise in the comfort mode or normal mode, and it's just smooth sailing with it. And if I feel like I want to have a little bit of fun, which is more so when I get off work and I'm like on the way home and I finally get through the traffic and I want to have a little bit of fun with it, I put it in sport mode, and it kind of gets a bit more rowdy, so to say. And as a daily, I kind of love that because I can be comfort, I can be just cool and cruising, and then at the moment's notice I can kind of like be hitting definitely highway speeds with my Type S. But as a daily driver, the only thing I can say is probably the gas mileage. So, being on the topic of gas mileage, what is the gas mileage like after 20,000 miles? Well, I've pretty much gotten used to it. I average about 21 to 22 miles to the gallon. If I'm driving in sport mode, which I have been driving in sport mode a little bit more often than not as of recently. Let's put it that way. More often than not, I've been in sport mode. So my MPGs have taken a bit of a hit, but for my commute to work, which is mainly highway, I get about 21, 22 miles to the gallon, and it's decent. A full tank of gas will last me about a week, like just about a week, and maybe a day, just depending on how I drive or depending on how many days a week that I do go to work. Because sometimes I do work from home, so sometimes I may not drive it at all. Um, and that's pretty much the extent of that. Next, well, I know another commenter had asked me about driving the car with my summer tires. You know, how was the winter driving on the performance tires? Have you had to travel on snowy roads yet? Well, we did get some snow here. Living in the DC metro area, we did get some snow. I actually didn't drive my car in the snow though. When it snowed, I pretty much left my car parked and I worked from home. So I didn't really drive it when the snow, when there was snow or black ice on the road. It was mainly parked on, mainly due to because I was on summer tires and I didn't switch out to winters, and honestly didn't feel like switching to a winter tire setup. If I was gonna do a winter tire setup, I was thinking about doing the multi-spoke wheels on some winter tires and just have that as a winter tire setup to go with during the winter, and then switch back to my NSX Y spokes in the summer, or for I guess the spring summer. And that's pretty much what I was leaning towards, but I never got around to it, so I just kept the summer tires on throughout this winter, and so far so good. I haven't had any issues with it. I mean, I haven't been trying to drive like wild with the tires when it's colder weather or there was snow on the ground or anything to do with cold weather and snow. I wasn't driving crazy with it, so it was pretty cool having the summer tires on. I didn't have any issues. So yeah, pretty easy. You can drive on summer tires in the snow. It's just not the snow, but you can drive on the summer tires in the winter. It's just don't try to like drive like super aggressively or go to back roads and try to drive like really aggressively on the back roads with summer tires in winter weather. I wouldn't do that. I would advise against doing that. But if you just driving normally, I think the summer tires can survive through the winter just fine. Other things that I would want to mention just in my year and 20,000 miles of having my Type S is that with this car and the size of it, you have to watch yourself in drive-thrus. It is particularly a little bit more easier to curb these wheels, especially with them being 20-inch wheels on low-profile tires. It's easy to curb them. I'll be honest with you guys. I curbed this car's wheels like 3 times. Thankfully, when I bought the car, I bundled in a tire and wheel protection warranty, which has paid for itself at this moment 3 times over. So just be mindful about drive-thrus. And the last time it happened, it was because I went through a drive-thru in which I figured, okay, I can get my Type S through that drive-thru. It was a bank drive-thru, and I was like, I can get my Type S through there, no problem. And I was being very careful, driving slow, being real careful, and next thing I knew, even with me being careful and checking both my mirrors, because, you know, thank you, Acura, we don't have 360-degree cameras in the 2023 model for whatever reason. I heard that noise, and it was like a scratchy noise, and I was like, oh damn it. And my back wheel got curbed at a bank drive-thru. So now I've sworn off like even going through them at this point. Like now I just park up and just go to the ATM, because that's just easier and less hassle. But I do have a tire and wheel protection warranty, so it has paid for itself when I have had that issue when I curbed the wheel. but just be mindful of that. Other than that, this car, it it gets a lot of attention. There was a comment on my last video where the person mentioned that it would be hard to own this car because it seems like it attracts a lot of attention, and yeah, it does attract a lot of attention. One of the craziest stories of many that I have, but they're not all crazy, but the one that particularly was a little bit more wild to me was, um, a, I was on my way to my Acura dealership and to get um one of my puddle lights fixed actually, and I believe a lady was with her husband. They saw my car, and I wasn't really paying attention. I saw them look over, kind of break their neck to see the car, but after that, I didn't really pay attention. It was a couple lights from the dealership, and next thing I know, as I pull into the dealership and I'm getting out the car in the service department, the lady comes walking around the corner and is like, "Oh my gosh, your car is so pretty," and I just had to know what it was. You know, I'm car shopping with my husband, and she goes through the whole spiel about, she's looking at a new car, and she used to buy American cars, but this car kind of makes her think she should probably try something different. So, um, I think I brought Acura a sale because she went into the showroom on the sales side, and I believe talked to a salesperson and got a brochure and stuff. I don't know what happened after that, but I would like to think that my Type S brought a sale to Acura. But that's just one of the crazier ones because it was like, dang, she followed me into the dealership. Like, I mean, I know the car looks good and it does look different. But I was like, wow. But it just also let me know that I do got something that's pretty unique. It's You don't really see a lot of these on the road, especially in the Type S model. Um, you might see more now than you did then when I was first got it in my last video, but they're still quite kind of like uncommon, and mine's being red is more of an ostentatious color. In real life, I have had people, and people also that have reached out to me on my Instagram. They've asked me like, are you gonna mod the car? Like, are you gonna do some things to it? And being honest, right now I'm in a place where I don't know if I want to keep it stock for right now and just continue to enjoy the car for the power it has right now, and then start trying to do some small little power mods and maybe do some cosmetic stuff. In terms of wheels, I don't think I'm ever going to change the wheels on the car because I like the NSX wheels and I think they look dope on the car. I don't think I ever want to change them. Performance mods, a couple buddies of mine in the area that do have Type S's, one of them has an intake on it and it sounds pretty dope, so I'm thinking an intake, and definitely a downpipe. The only other thing is, I know the ECU for this car hasn't been unlocked yet, so there isn't, well, more specifically the 22 and 23 models and now 24 models as well, the ECU is still locked, and Honda hasn't unlocked the ECU yet, but if and when they do, that's also something I think I'm going to be interested in, seeing just how much more power I can make. Like I said, it's stock horsepower, it's decent, but as all the reviewers have said, and most people still say now, it could use a bit of a power bump. It could use some more power. I mean, especially with the weight of the car. Even with the lightweight wheels, it's still a pretty heavy car, so it could use a bit of a power bump. And I think a downpipe and an intake and a tune, or a mild tune rather, mild or light tune, could bring a nice little modest power bump just to make it give it some more oomph, so to say. Actually, the only thing I've done so far mod wise is I changed out the pads. I will say, the Brembo pads, the OEM pads from Acura wore out. I won't say they wore out rather quickly. I mean, it was kind of on time, kind of not. I mean, with the way that I drove the car towards the end of the year, okay, I kind of expected them to wear out just a tad bit faster, but I wasn't impressed with the life of the pads. So I went and picked up some aftermarket pads from Racing Brake Performance or RB Performance, and I've had those pads on the car since about November, and they're pretty decent. I really like those, and I prefer those more than I do the stock ones. It, it feels like, just from comparing when I had the OEM pads on there versus the RB Performance pads that I have on now, there's a bit more stopping power, and yet to be determined, but I think it's also going to last longer as well. So the pads are dope. Other than that, everything else is stock, and that's kind of where I'm at with mods and modding the car. That has basically been my experience so far. 20,000 miles in. Yeah, basically pretty good overall experience. I mean, I can't really complain. Besides the puddle lights, that's minor to me, but other than that, it's been enjoyable, and I'm gonna continue to enjoy it for this this next year, that we're in now. Um, as to where I have been, for those who may care to know, I definitely meant to bring more videos. I had been to my local Acura meet a couple different times that they've hosted it. I've been there, and I meant to kind of like record some stuff and post it, because most of the people in my local area, they got some pretty unique and dope builds. But it's been a lot going on with me for the past year. I ended up changing jobs to a whole new industry, so there was that. I had some other stuff going on, so it was so many moving parts in my life. It kind of like prevented me from being consistent with the content like I had wanted to do. And I'm still in amazement to this day that I did so many views on my first video. I did not expect that at all. I did not expect that at all. 65,000 views on my first video, and it was just a simple review about my car. I thought I was going to do maybe 2,000 or so views, and that's going to be that. I'm going to get a couple comments, but no, 65,000 views as of right now, and over 300 comments. A lot of people just showing appreciation, and like, man, that's a beautiful car. Like, just a lot of love, basically, and a lot of appreciation. And I have some of the comments up right here, but wow, like, it just wasn't expected, and I'm grateful for that. And it has inspired me to come out with more content and be more consistent. So this year I want to record more and showcase a little bit of everything that I do that's car related, at least to my car and the meets that I go to. Like yesterday, I met up with a photographer friend of mine and another buddy of mine, and we did some photo shoots on a back road that was kind of like in the forest a bit, but it was a nice little back road, and it made for some good environments with backdrops to take photos and stuff. It was dope. I want to record, and I want to put on YouTube and for everybody else to see, because honestly, I don't feel like I see a lot of DMV car community content, honestly. Maybe it's something that I can bring to the interwebs, so yeah. Other than that, I ain't got much else really to say right now. So with that, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.